Hello, my name is Waisha. Welcome to my channel. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. I created another video comparing the Nama J2 juicer to an Amazon juicer that I found online. And it was much smaller, and it was very noisy, and it had some other things that made it not so great. I've heard you all in the comments stating that there's another juicer out there by the same brand called the Canoly Max that is quieter, much bigger, and I figured let's give it a try and test it out and see if it's worth the extra dollars. So this one is about 40 bucks more than the small one that I had in that video. And if you're interested in seeing that other one, be sure to check the link in my description to the other video showing a little bit more of the Canoly Pro. And this video will be the breakdown of the Canoly Max. I'm going to be breaking down each of these juicers by component so that you can get a better idea of what it may take to assemble it, to disassemble it, and potentially what it may take to clean it as well. And we're going to also juice them. We're going to be juicing pineapple, ginger, apple, and celery to get a full range to see how, let's be real, we know the Nama is great. Disclaimer, I'm not trying to say that this juicer is competing against the Nama. That's not my intent at all. The goal of these videos is to basically see if there's a juicer that could get as close as possible to the premium juicer, and so that, you know, we're able to get these juicing benefits without spending 550 bucks on a juicer. So I believe that the time that I purchased this was about 189 bucks. But I believe it was like a $50 discount or something, bringing it down to like $139. So I'm not sure what the price is. The prices on Amazon change daily, but as of right now, this juicer is still under $200. I'm gonna try juicing these different things, see how the Canoly handles the celery, handles apples, handles, you know, harder things like ginger, as well as pineapple. So it's interesting here because there's a note that says, cut fibrous veggies small. So celery, ginger, and so on. So they're saying for this to work, make sure we cut these up very small. And I'm glad they have this note on here because I didn't see this note on this smaller juicer. So I kind of was just tossing things in there like I would do the Nama, but it's making it clear that's probably not the best move to do with this kind of juicer. It also says do not have any stone fruit. So they're saying cherries, red bayberries, and so on. So anything that has stones in it, don't use in this juicer. So fair enough. Let's get started. I'm going to start by breaking down these components, and let's start with the Amazon juicer. For this Amazon juicer, let's start by taking off this component one by one. So I like that this one came with a little top, which is great. So it'll stop things from popping around as it's juicing inside. Okay. So we have the hopper here, which again comes with this top piece. So you're able to dump things in there. You'll also take away the straining piece from the hopper. So as of right now, we have the hopper. So the auger on these pieces, you're able to take out. You're able to take them out by screwing them out, right? So you could take this out here as well, the auger. And lastly, you can pull this piece out as well. Okay. So I like that this top piece is attached so that when you're releasing the juice, you just have to pull this thing open and then the juice flows. Of course, it comes with this as well. And one thing I kind of like about this model is that if you turn it to the back, you'll see that it has a switch that has the on, off, and then reverse. You'll see that this piece actually goes deep within here, which is really nice. But what I really like is that it's able to catch the pulp in here, and it's kind of a part of the juicer rather than being outside of the juicer like the Nama typically is. Okay, so that's pretty much the parts that we have for this juicer. I feel like it's very similar to the same setup as the Nama. You'll see once we break these down as well, but it's pretty much the same. So you just have a hopper to clean, which is looks like it's pretty easy to clean. You have this little top piece, which I can't say, if I'm honest, it does feel like cheap plastic. but you know, I feel like it will be helpful if we don't want things to splatter outside of it. And then you have these other pieces as well. Okay. So I'll go ahead and reassemble it just so we can see how we put it together as well. But keep in mind, when you're cleaning this product, these are the things that you're going to have to clean. We already have the pulp collector still attached to the juicer, so that just slides right in. Very simple. We're going to put this into the housing unit. Okay, just slide it down. So I noticed with this one, there is a little, you got to put a little oomph into pulling it out because there's a suction that keeps this piece in. So you just have to be mindful of that. So when you pull it out, just have a little patience with it. Same when you're putting it in. You just have to put a little pressure on it to make sure that it's at the bottom like it's supposed to be. Okay, so next is the auger. So this you could just screw in there. There we go. Perfect. And it's nice and tight. When it stops moving or it's unable to move anymore, that's how you know it's in there securely. Okay, so with this, attaching it to the bottom of the hopper first, so that it's nice and secure. Make sure it's not falling off, and then from there, I will put this onto the unit. So the trick is to keep spinning this around until it clicks in. You see that? Once it clicks in, you know that it's good. And then we have the top piece. They're on top, right? And then that's pretty much it. Then this is assembled and it's ready to go. We're going to turn it on. Let's check the noise really quickly just to see if it is better than the other one, because if you guys heard the Canoly Pro in the other video, like, it's so loud. So let's see how this compares. It is much better. Much, much better. So that's that. So let's go ahead and quickly disassemble the Nama, show the components there, as well as noise, and then we're going to jump right into juicing. Okay, so now let's break down this Nama J2 juicer. So we're going to start with the top. You can simply pop this open and just pull it off. It has a little latch here. Let's see if you guys are able to see it. It has a little latch here so that you're able to easily attach it to the hopper. So I'll show you once I actually disassemble the hopper. So sometimes I find that I have to lift this up a little bit first because once it's locked in, the goal is for it to not separate. So sometimes you have to lift it to be able to twist it off, right? Okay. So this is the hopper. This is what it looks like on the inside, which I love. As you can see, there's already some sort of blade, but the thing is, it's not actually a blade. It's not sharp at all, but this is what allows you to put full apples in there without having to like chop up and cut up everything. This little thing in here is able to just smush it before it even gets to the auger for juicing. So I found that really, really nice. And then in terms of the top piece, you see this little bar here? That's exactly what we just put on to the top. We just snap it on there and then boom. It's really simple. So I always like the simplicity of it. And it's really easy to clean, like so easy. Now this is the auger that we just kind of pull out from the inside of the strainer. So let me actually show a quick close-up of what that looks like. Okay, so simply you pull out the auger from inside of the strainer here. It's a really big auger piece. I actually really like this because the width of it, it seems like it mushes much more juice, if that makes sense. And even the design, I'm not sure, but I feel like just Nama did their thing with this thing. And so it's really, really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out the strainer. So this is usually what keeps the juice spinning within the housing unit. So it just snaps in there really easily. Okay, so we're gonna keep it apart for now, just to show all of the parts that the Nama has, right? Okay, and lastly, we have, well, not really lastly, but it's real simple, real easy to clean. I broke my spout piece as I mentioned earlier. So, but what would normally be here is a top. And as you can see, this little piece here, it allows you to just simply flip it open or close it. And it's really nice. I like that it also has measuring units as well. So the capacity of this is about 16 ounces. So it's really nice. And this is one of my favorite parts of the juicer. I'm gonna turn it to the side so you can see what I'm referencing. So this is where the pulp comes out of this housing unit. And one thing that's very difficult to clean is pulp, especially when it gets stuck in these kind of pieces, right? So with the Nama, you're able to flip down this little hook piece here and just open it. And that is a game changer because you're able to just wipe out the pulp, scrape out whatever's there, rinse it off, clean it, and keep it moving, you know? Whereas the other ones I found, you know, you gotta do some scrubbing. Right? And then of course we have the juice catcher that comes with the Nama as well as the pulp catcher as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble the Nama. So to do that, we want to start with the housing unit. And I just simply drop that on top, putting the strainer inside of this little mixing piece and then place it inside the Nama. There's parts of the Nama here, right? So there's a big U-shaped part here, and then there's a smaller U-shaped part here. And the reason being is that there's a specific way you're supposed to put this inside of the Nama. So you want to match it or line it up with the U parts inside of this housing unit here, right? So that it fits in just nicely. After that, we want to throw in the auger. What I do is I do a little twist to make sure it snaps in. Okay, so I was lucky on that one. It just dropped right in. Then we put on the hopper. Again, we do kind of what we do with the cannoli as well, and just kind of spin it until you hear a snap. Perfect. And then you just throw on the top. Boom. And just like that, the Nama is assembled. So we're going to turn it on really quickly just to see what the noise sound like. Compare the noises of them two really quickly, and then go ahead and start juicing. So that's the sound of the Nama. This is the sound of the Amazon juicer, the Canoly. So as we can see, this one is still louder than the Nama, which is really interesting for me to see and learn because I really thought at one point the Nama was really loud. But after trying out other juicers, not even close. It's not even a comparison. All right, so let me go ahead and cut up this pineapple and then let's actually see how these juicers compare with the juicing and the taste. And I heard that the darker the color is, the more nutrient it keeps. So I do know with the other juicer, it seemed very light in comparison to the Nama. So let's see if they improved the nutrient keeping properties of this cannoli with the larger model. I just want to share a little bit of my thought process behind testing these fruits and veggies specifically. So, you know, apples I feel like are standard in any type of juice regimen, juice recipes, juicing anything. So if it can't pass the apple test, it's not a juicer. It's just not. And so we're going to try some apples. I have some celery here as well because celery is a really complex vegetable. I even have trouble sometimes using it with the Nama where it would cause some buildup in the pulp extraction piece and cause some problems, right? Because it's very fibrous. So I want to see how this juicer is able to handle that. I did get the note that it says we're going to have to cut up these the celery much smaller, so I will do that to see how it will still handle the celery. I wanted to try pineapple because pineapple is a really foamy fruit. So my intent is to see, one, how does this juicer handle the excess foam that may be produced from these pineapples compared from the foam of the Nama as well, because I feel like it's unavoidable, you know, the foam that comes from the pineapple. And then lastly, ginger. Now ginger is a really, really hard root vegetable. So I want to see how this Amazon juicer is able to work with ginger as well. I already know the Nama does pretty well, but you know, I wanted to test these things out. So that's what we have here. Okay, so let's go ahead and load this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have about 8 pieces of pineapple over here in the Nama. We're gonna put the same amount over here. 1, 2. I'm not a fan of saying anything. It's like, why? Lots of weight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So if I'm honest, I want to use all of the pineapples, so I'm gonna go ahead and load all of them. So this is 8, this is 10, this is 10. I'm trying to have roughly the same number of pieces. Granted, I know they're cut differently, so it may still not produce the same amount of juice. But you know, we're trying here. We're trying the best that we can. So yeah, 2 and 2. Okay, so we have about 12 pieces in each side. Spinner thing is causing some obstruction, so I'm actually not able to load this anymore because now this piece can't move, right? So that makes this really interesting. I'm actually glad that we tried this because despite it being a bigger hopper, it doesn't really matter if you can't load the hopper up. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something to keep in mind. If you do, you're going to have to cut everything really small. So just think about the time it may take to do that. But either way, that is something to note. The smaller the better for this juicer. So I'm going to go ahead and just let them juice the pineapples and just see how they do in terms of the foam. And then we'll check back in. So far they look good. The Nama did juice all of the pineapple. Unfortunately, it looks like we have something stuck already in this juicer. So we do have a little problem here. I won't be able to move that piece because again, I can't put my hand in here because of this piece here. And usually these juicers come with a pusher of some sort. I am unable to find the pusher for this juicer in the packaging. So it either didn't come with one or it's missing. If I'm not mistaken, I did think I read through some comments where people were complaining that it was missing a pusher, so maybe that's the case. But for now, we're just going to continue juicing. But before we do, let me just quickly show the difference of the foam really quickly. So it roughly has the same amount of foam, which isn't too much, so that's good. Next, we're going to juice the apples. Now, I'm purposely not going to cut these because in the Amazon picture and description, they showed us being able to put full apples inside of this juicer, which is another reason why I decided to test it out, because the goal is to see if we can get as close to the design and style of the Nama without paying the price for it, right? So we're going to go ahead and put this full apple in there. And I have 4 apples, so we're just going to simply put 2 apples each. Very simple. And then we'll put 2 in the Nama. I think this time we're going to see. That's funny. Let's pause this really quickly. So immediately this says no. Immediately it just didn't work. Okay, now it's okay. So it just crushed. So I'm going to turn this back on to see just the time it takes to juice the 2 apples here versus the 2 apples here. So technically this juicer finished first, and the reason I'm doing the quotations is that the apples went through the juicer, poured, and it was done. However, there's pieces in here that are stuck and it won't move in there. And again, I can't kind of put my hand in it. I'll have to like manipulate it with a spoon or a fork or something, and I don't have that right now. So I'm gonna see if if we keep juicing the celery and the ginger, that it may push these things along. But once it does crush it, it does juice it really fast. So to me, that almost feels like it's not really extracting the nutrients as it should. It's kind of just squeezing it and tossing it, if that makes sense. And I'll show the pulp as well towards the end of this video so that you can see the difference between the juices and if this juicer is leaving wet pulp. Just go ahead and quickly add the celery so that this doesn't turn a brown, ugly color. And then the ginger. Juicing with this juicer, despite having a similar style and look as the Nama, does not save you time. So that is something to keep note. Sure, you're able to, put in fruits and veggies, but if you got to keep stopping it to fix it, you're not, you're not saving any time here, especially if you have to cut up, your celery pieces to, little bite-sized chunks so that it doesn't stop up the juicer. So just certain things to keep in mind. Again, there's always going to be trade-offs, right? If right now you're in a space where you're like, I absolutely need to save money, but I still want to juice and get those benefits, I still recommend finding, an option. This may be one of them, we'll see, towards the end. But some of the trade-offs of not investing in a high-end juicer is your time, is your nutrients sometimes. So just something to keep in mind there. Again, there's still things that are lingering behind in this juicer. It looks like it pushed down some of the pineapple and apple that was stuck in here, but now it looks like we have pieces of celery that is lingering here as well. So let's go ahead and try to wrap this up. Let's add the ginger, see how it treats the ginger. We're going to give it a taste test, compare the Pulp, and then we're going to wrap this up. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to start with a knob. I don't want to make the juice too spicy, and with ginger, even this will make it really hot. So let's just see if it's able to crush it at all and see if we can get some juice out of it. Yeah. I wonder, is that normal? Maybe because it was maybe the size, From this angle, it's hard for me to see the nama, to see the output of the nama, but that was really interesting. Okay, so I guess the real taste test is, we'll see if we got some of that ginger in there by the taste of it. I love the split here. Okay, so we do have some foam for both of these. So this one is definitely, oh, we got some chunks up in there. I don't know what that was, but that was a chunk. So with this one, you may actually need a strainer as well. Something to keep in mind. All right, that looks really good. So again, I did notice that the color is much deeper on the nama. And again, I'm assuming it's because it's maintaining those nutrients. So let's get a quick close-up of the two. So I definitely noticed the difference between the two when I was pouring it. This one is definitely lighter, as we kind of mentioned before, because it's probably true that it's extracting a little bit more nutrients out of the juices versus the nama, which is finding a way to maintain those nutrients in the juice much better, which again makes it more full, more thick, more dense. I also noticed with the Amazon juicer that there's still some clumps in there, and I see some floaties, some particles. So if you like clean juice, you may want to add an additional straining to your Amazon juicing, because it looks like, if not, you may have a little lumps. If you're okay with that, great, perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm going to try the nama first because it's the nama. I'm used to it. And that way it would give me a taste profile to compare the Amazon juicer to. Oh, it's so good. That's really good. Okay, I'm not surprised, It's really good quality. There's no chunks in this at all, which I like. I love a smooth juice. I have no complaints here, honestly. I'm trying not to chug it on camera because, I'm a lady. But it's really good. I feel like I probably put too little ginger because there's a faint taste of it in the nama. So I can expect that I'm probably going to get a similar response here. So let's just go ahead and try the Amazon juicer. I'm so sorry, y'all. That caught me off guard. It was so many pieces and particles. I was expecting just like a smooth drink. And as I was drinking, my mouth got clogged up with all of the, I don't even know what that is. It could be pineapple, celery, apple, all of it. Goodness, let's see. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to literally chew my drink. It's very clumpy. I can say that. I actually think that the Canoly Pro did a better job at removing the clumps than it did for this one. Granted, I didn't try celery in the Pro, but even with the carrot, it did better than this. So definitely something to keep in mind. Let's try. Let me try to taste it for the taste. I feel like I was so distracted by the extraness in here. It tastes pretty good. I can give that. I do taste all of the fruits and veggies. It's not as dense or intense as the Nama juice, right? It feels like I'm getting the flavors and the taste of it, but it is a little faint, which again, I expected, but it still tastes really good. I think the only thing is I do not like clumpy stuff in my juices. So I think that's the main thing that's turning me off right now in terms of this juice. So definitely, if you plan to use this, use a strainer to double strain, because the strainer that it has doesn't do a good job, if I'm honest, right? Okay, so in terms of the ginger, I don't taste the ginger at all. Let's go ahead and check the pulp and then we'll be done. So this is what we have. Now let's pull out the Nama. So based on the look and feel, they look about the same in terms of pulp extraction. Both of them are a little moist. But when it comes to the celery and the apple, the Nama don't play like at all. So it's pretty dry for these. And this one is pretty decent as well. Okay, so I'm assuming that based on the pulp and the fillness of it, that this juice is still getting as much juice as possible out of their extractions, out of the extraction of the juices. So that's good. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about with this juicer. So in summary, if I had to compare and rate these juicers, the Nama I love. It has some annoyances that happen every now and then, but I would still give this juicer a 9.5 out of 10. It is my favorite. This juicer, however, after the experience of having some of the fruits and veggies clogged up on the inside, me having to manually figure out how to push this produce down, after drinking this juice and having a lot of clumps in it, I didn't have a good experience with this one. So I would have to give this juicer a 4. I have to give this juicer a 4 out of 10 as of right now, based on my experience. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. If you've tried this juicer or know someone that has, let me know your thoughts about this juicer. And yeah, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share the love. I would truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you all in the next videos. All right, peace and love.